From isolated snow showers to deadly tornado outbreaks, critical fire conditions, and dangerous winds, I've got it all tonight in your weather forecast. There is still a risk of severe thunderstorms from the northeast Gulf Coast to the central Appalachians and mid-Atlantic where tornadoes have touched down yesterday. But will those storms head our direction? Stay tuned to find out.
Now your local forecast from News 3 New Mexico.
Welcome back. I'm Desiree Markham. Taking a look at News 3's live weather cam, you can see here in our region it is fairly calm and peaceful. However, looking at the national satellite map, you can see there are still deadly storms lurking in the southeast right here behind me. What caused the deadly tornado outbreak was a powerful low-pressure system that actually started here in our region over in New Mexico and West Texas. This system moved across the Central Plains then. On Monday, Texas was at risk for severe weather, as was the Ohio River Valley. As the days passed, the storm moved on to Mississippi. Now at least 69 tornadoes have been reported in the Memphis area alone. I will tell you and show you more about the damage in a moment. Looking closer at our region, here you can see just what you saw with the live weather cam. Peaceful for now, still close to freezing. And speaking of freezing, let's look at those lows. You can see here Amarillo's 32, Tucumcari 20, Lubbock 24, so still all the lows definitely below freezing in eastern New Mexico and West Texas. Taking a look at the highs now, you can see tomorrow Tucumcari 50, Roswell 63, Carlsbad 60. We're going to see some warmer highs now that this storm has moved off. It's taken the moisture with it, and we're going to see a little bit warmer temperatures. However, the wind may come back again at the end of this week. Possible snow showers are in store for most of the region. I want to point out for a moment in Lubbock there is a severe weather watch due to the fire hazards that can be caused by these now dry conditions now that the storm has moved off to the southeast area of the nation, and these conditions cause high winds, high temperatures, cause fire hazards. So keep that in mind if you do live in Lubbock. If you're going to be going that direction, just keep that in mind. Taking a look now at the current conditions outside the broadcast center, you can see the humidity is at 15%, not very high right now since that storm has moved off. Wind speed out of the west at 35 miles per hour, gust up to 44. Taking a look now at the 5-day forecast, you can see what I mean about these temperatures warming up a little bit. We're almost going to reach 70 by about Sunday and Monday, so it is going to get warmer. However, this is going to affect the pollen count. As you can see, Friday it's going to skyrocket, 9.4. Keep in mind this is flu season, so you might be having a lot of flu-like symptoms. However, it could just be the allergy level because these pollen counts are so high, due again once more, as I said earlier, to the high winds and the higher temperatures. And now, Anthony, I want to take a look at some photos about these tornadoes I was telling you about in the Memphis area. As you can see here, it started out as a lightning storm, then it went from there to these massive tornadoes. There's been 69 alone that have touched down in the Memphis area. And taking a look at this final one, you can see the damage that is caused. This is probably a reminder of what happened here in our area, touchdown in Clovis, New Mexico in March of last year. We had this tornado touch down, so this devastation is probably a very vivid reminder, but thankfully it's interesting to note that this storm actually did start here and then moved off.
Yeah, they form quickly and they appear, but thank you, Desiree.
You're welcome. Well, Amy, looking at News 3's live weather cam, you can indeed see how gorgeous it was today. It's still winter, but today could have passed for a sunny summer day. Looking at the current conditions outside the broadcast center now, you can see it's come down from a high of 71, 72 today to 62 degrees. Partly cloudy, more clouds are moving in. It's getting slightly cooler with those clouds. The winds are out of the west, 9 miles per hour. Very beautiful, gorgeous outside. That's First Weather. I'm Desiree Markham in the News 3 Weather Center. Back to you, Anthony. Millions across the Western Hemisphere will have the chance to catch the year's only lunar eclipse. Stay with me to find out if New Mexico and Texas get to see it. Welcome back. I'm Desiree Markham in the News 3 Weather Center. Looking at News 3's live weather cam, you can see it's starting to cool off from the beautiful high we saw today of 72 degrees. However, the entire region is not going to stay this way. Looking at the national satellite, you can see why there is a winter advisory for most of the nation, especially our region here. It's going to go into effect tonight through Thursday evening. An upper-level storm will bring a heavy snowfall to the western and northern mountains of New Mexico. This storm will pick up speed as it comes closer. Precipitation will diminish, however, by Thursday night. However, we won't be in the clear even after that because another upper-level system is forecast to impact the northern half of the state this weekend. Now, there is going to be a lunar eclipse tonight. This eclipse will be visible across the western Europe, Northwest America, all of South America, and the eastern half of North America. Now, depending on the atmospheric conditions on Earth, tonight's full moon will either appear blood red, rusty, or gray. Now, the next eclipse won't be seen until December 2010. Now, an eclipse happens when the Earth is directly in line between the Sun and the Moon, which will be covered by Earth's shadow. Sunlight will then pass through the edge of the Earth's atmosphere, scattering blue light and giving the Moon a reddish hue. The Moon should turn red about 6:43 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The eclipse will be over by 10:09 p.m. tonight. Now for the lows, speaking of tonight, you can see it's going to be 30 in Tucumcari, 25 Amarillo. Amarillo is going to see a lot of that wintry mix. On to the highs for tomorrow, you can see it's going to warm up again. Roswell 64, Carlsbad 69, Midland 70. It's going to feel like spring, almost summer again. Looking at the current conditions outside the broadcast center, you can see the barometer is 29.94. We don't worry about that until it gets to be over 30, so no storms there. Looking at the 5-day forecast, you can see what I mean about these beautiful spring summer temperatures. It's going to be high 60s, sometimes mid 50s, but even then it's going to be mostly sunny, absolutely gorgeous. Looking now at the pollen count, because of these high temperatures, you can see Thursday 7.1. It's going to spike up on Saturday because of that weather. And Anthony, Amy, that's your complete weather forecast. Well, Amy, as you can see from News 3's live weather cam, you can see why scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected throughout this evening and on into tomorrow, with isolated thunderstorms on into the night, just like we saw last night. Currently outside the broadcast center, it's 60 degrees, still overcast. That fog has lifted, but the cloud coverage is still there. Winds are out of the east at 18 miles per hour. They've shifted a little bit, so it's actually a little bit cooler than 60 degrees, maybe about 57. That's First Weather. I'm Desiree Markham in the news. Last night, most of us woke up to heavy rains and thunderstorms. Will this moisture and precipitation continue? Stay tuned to find out. For your favorite part of the broadcast, it's time for First Weather. Looking at News 3's live weather cam, you can see it is windy outside. Conditions are dry with gusts. The wind is out of the south, so it's warm, but those low humidities mixed with these high winds are what causes these fire dangers. That's First Weather. Right now outside the broadcast center, you can see it's 86 degrees fair. Those winds out of the south that I mentioned at 9 miles per hour, gusts up to 26 miles per hour. That will kick in and be in effect until 8 p.m. tonight. Back to you, Jonathan.
It has turned cloudy. It's 34 degrees outside with winds from the east at 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's First Weather. I'm Desiree Markham. It's time now to go back to Benito in the studio. Benito? Last week we saw temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s, but that's all about to change. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day and it will be freezing. I'll tell you why coming up next in weather. I'm Desiree Markham coming to you live. Eastern New Mexico and West Texas are under a winter storm warning and watch, along with a snow advisory. Parts of the state should expect 2 to 3 inches of snow starting early this evening and going on into tomorrow.
Now let's go back out to Desiree with a final look at weather. So Desiree, is it really going to snow on Valentine's Day? Are we going to get a little bit of white on the day of red?
Yes, Benito, as you can see behind me, the sun is set even lower and it's gotten even cloudier. The National Weather Service has issued a snow advisory. Most of the state will receive 2 to 3 inches of snow. So tomorrow on Valentine's Day, there won't be a whole lot of red, but some white. So if you're planning a romantic evening out with your Valentine, be sure and be aware of the road conditions just in case this precipitation gets worse than we are thinking. Tomorrow we'll see lows in the 30s and tonight lows in the 20s. Some places such as Tucumcari, a low of 18. That's Final Weather. I'm Desiree Markham.
According to CNN News, a recent study from Harris Interactive shows that over 60% of Americans see firefighters as having the most prestigious job in the nation.
Firefighters are born, not made. That's according to the New Mexico State Fire Marshal John Standifer. Here in Socorro, New Mexico, the New Mexico State Fire Academy is spread out over 152 acres, and here's where the best in the state train.
The New Mexico Firefighters Training Academy is a state-of-the-art facility where 2,500 to 3,000 firefighters train each year. The majority of students are members of fire departments in the state. Seen here are Roswell and Santa Fe firefighters. However, many come from other states, the Indian nations, the private sector, and the Barberos come from Mexico.
By having the facility here, though, in a central area of the state, we're able to simulate fires and emergencies that would be very difficult to do at the local level. We're the only place in the state of New Mexico in which the FAA fires can be conducted.
Courses at the Academy are designed to meet standards created by the National Fire Protection Association. The Academy's efforts also benefit New Mexico citizens by lowering fire insurance rates.
It's a very typical personality that seems to be drawn to the fire service. And you'll find the majority of firefighters that are good firefighters They never cease the learning process. No matter how long you've been in the fire service or what your rank may be or the type of fires that you fight, there's always something to be learned.
So what are the rewards of being a firefighter?
Honorable occupation. You're out there helping the public. If you want to get rich, you don't want to be a fireman, of course. But just being able to go out and help the public, it's all the benefits, the camaraderie you have with the other firefighters. It's just a huge family.
One of the main benefits is you get to come to work with a great bunch of guys, best friends in the world, and you do a job you love fighting fire, love going out, helping out the public, meeting new people every day. It's the best job in the world. Work 48 hours off 4 days. Before I got in the fire department, I would have thought it was scary, but we train for it every day, and going out there, it's just doing our job.
Do you have a sense of like toughness? I mean, being that you do what you do?
No, I have a sense of confidence, and I think that's important for our job. You need to be confident while doing this job because it shows. And people, you want to inspire confidence in people when you show up on their scene, their emergency, and make sure that they're at ease, that you know what you're doing.
Seeing young firefighters come up from fresh to up, there's always rewards. The rewards is knowing that they're going to be safe out there because they've been properly trained. We have a motto in the fire service: everybody goes home. And in order to do that, it starts with training.
I think it's the greatest job in the world. I think you'll find that the people who are firefighters, they come because of the excitement, the challenge, and the adrenaline flow. But I also think it's a way for them to give back to the community and to serve their community. A lot of our younger firefighters, we see they come in and they're drawn to it by the smoke and danger and the sirens and red lights and the entire adrenaline aspect of it. But it doesn't take but a couple of years before usually they're broken of that and they understand the value of what they do and the true commitment to the community and the intent then to serve.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
From the political arena to the rodeo arena, I can tell you from experience, it's good to be queen. Some of you may not know that a woman is the official ambassador of county and state fairs and rodeos. I spoke with trainer Doyle Stowe, whose life has been dedicated to training horses and queens. Here in the West, rodeos are a part of everyday life. And behind every successful rodeo, there's a queen. A young woman who exhibits femininity, grace, has an exceptional personality, and outstanding horsemanship skills. And behind every successful queen, there's a trainer. Young girls out west dream of being a cowboy sweetheart, and sometimes those dreams come true when they become queen. Doyle Stowe has been training horses all his life, but the past 20 years have been dedicated to making sweethearts into queens.
I work some with people, mostly youngsters, and oddly enough, mostly girls. I've worked with several girls for the queen titles.
Stowe says his horses sometimes respond better than his girls.
You once in a while get a girl that don't listen too good, but most of the time they listen and respond very well. I've been blessed with some of the greatest, and I'm thankful for that. Some people think, well, this beautiful girl smelled like a horse, but you don't have to smell like a horse and still be able to do this. It's been my life. Ever since I can remember, I've rode horses. I look at it from a Christian standpoint, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of them.
I want to hear the coyote sing as the sun sets in the...
And Mike Kretz is ready to give you exclusive sports information about Greyhound football recruiting.
It's Super Tuesday, February 5th, and News 3 begins right now.
Eastern New Mexico and the surrounding region. This is News 3 New Mexico, your local source for news, sports, and first weather.
Good Good evening, I'm Desiree Markham.
And I'm John Archuleta.
So who did the only Hispanic governor in the nation vote for today? Governor Bill Richardson is not saying which candidate he supports. Governor Richardson may have watched the Super Bowl with former President Clinton at the governor's mansion in Santa Fe, but he refuses to say which Democratic candidate he's endorsing. However, the governor says they mostly talked about football. This has been a literally freezing Super Tuesday across New Mexico. What about our region? Let's turn to our Rob Hagan. Rob, will this cold weather keep people away from the polls? A sergeant from the Curry County Detention Center is accused of taking drugs into jail. Roberto Demansky was arrested Saturday and charged with cocaine trafficking. That's attempting to bring contraband into jail and conspiracy. Undercover agents asked Demansky if he would deliver a package containing tobacco and cocaine to an inmate for $50. Allegedly, Demansky agreed. He then drove to a predetermined location where he took possession of the package. He was later stopped by deputies and taken into custody. The sheriff's office says Demansky has been fired from the jail. If you like to run red lights in Albuquerque, you are in luck. The Albuquerque City Council voted Monday to reduce fines associated with the red light camera program. Albuquerque Mayor Martin Chavez supports the measure to reduce the fines. The cameras catch red light runners and speeding motorists at 20 intersections in the city. The cameras have generated more than $10 million between July 2005 and July 2007. An internal audit found the cameras have given the city nearly $6 million surplus. And sports isn't the key to Senator Obama's success, but maybe his wife is.
So you guys are keeping me pumped up.
Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama's wife campaigned on her husband's behalf in New Mexico Monday. She drummed up support ahead of Super Tuesday's big event at a rally in Las Cruces that is hopefully bringing 40,000 to 30,000 voters to the polls today. There is a new twist in the Natalee Holloway investigation. The Alabama teen disappeared from the Dutch island of Aruba almost 2 years ago, might have been saved. A one-time suspect reportedly tells all in a hidden camera interview. Natalee Holloway's mother says she can now put her daughter to rest and mourn her death. Go to News 3's Nancy Barunda, who's standing by live at the voter polls with the latest update. Thanks, Rob. Just a reminder, the election polls for the Democratic caucus will be open until 7 p.m. across New Mexico.
So if you are a registered Democrat, make sure and cast your vote.
That's News 3 New Mexico this Super Tuesday evening. And the fires are still raging in Southern California, and firefighters from New Mexico are lending a helping hand. Good evening, I'm Desiree Markham. Thanks, John. And with the state of California in need, Governor Bill Richardson is spending more than 36 New Mexico firefighters to help with the wildfires. Firefighters from all over New Mexico will be gone for 14 days. Richardson is also donating $10,000 from his presidential campaign fund to the Red Cross to victims of the fires. The fires have already burned nearly 460,000 acres. 45 people have been injured due to the fires and 3 people have died. And more hot Richardson news. The presidential hopeful says if elected, he would be an activist on behalf of labor unions. Richardson was in Las Vegas, Nevada Tuesday, where he made his statement. Richardson hopes to see a strong showing of union members at the January 19th caucus. Eddy County cotton producers are having a cotton-picking good time. Due to the timely rains and warm temperatures this fall, the cotton fields are looking fantastic so far, and that means a good price for Eddy County producers. Due to the adverse weather conditions in West Texas, there may be less cotton available, and that means a price increase for the farmers in Eddy County. Well, the Santa Ana winds aren't giving any relief to firefighters in California, but they are causing sunny and clear weather in our region. Amy, what should we expect this weekend? And get ready, sports fans. Jacob Leyva has everything from the punt to the puck in First Sports. Jacob? With the winter season approaching, it can be easy to feel a little down. Studies show that suicide rates increase in the winter, and with an estimated 15% of Americans already suffering from depression, it can take a little more than better weather to brighten up their day. Judy Fortin explains. And our John Archuleta will have tips to keep gym users and athletes safe from a deadly infection outbreak. In other news tonight, another New Mexican soldier dies in Iraq. 27-year-old Nathan Schultheis was a civilian counterintelligence specialist with the Air Force. He was killed when an improvised bomb blew up in a vehicle he was driving. Schultheis's father says his son was scheduled to come home in time for Thanksgiving. Presidential hopeful Bill Richardson is shifting his resources to the leadoff caucus state of Iowa. A campaign spokesman says Governor Richardson is sending field organizers from New Hampshire along with top national staff from campaign headquarters in Santa Fe. Staff members are expected to return to New Mexico with valuable experience. In other news tonight, you might want to think twice before you throw away that old credit card. It could be used to steal your identity. News 3's Nancy Barunda spoke with some local folks about this problem. She is live in downtown Portales with tips on how to prevent identity theft. Nancy? And no more fines, but maybe some penalties. Mike Kretz has the latest action in high school and college football. Mike.
Thanks, Desiree. Well, I try to stay away from penalties as much as I can.
And there are no drugs in this education news, just a veto from President Bush for an education and health bill. The president announced that he will veto a spending measure that congressional Democrats say is a top priority. President Bush criticizes Democrats for, quote, acting like a teenager with a new credit card, end quote. The president says the Democrats are not displaying fiscal responsibility. President Bush is proposing nearly $4 million in cuts to this year's health and education bill. And more New Mexico education news out of Rio Rancho. The Rio Rancho School Board is trying to decide whether or not to dissolve a policy on intelligent design, which allows alternative theories of evolution to be discussed in science classes. Opponents say the policy is a tactic to teach intelligent design. Other critics say it's nothing more than religion disguised as science. The board last voted on the policy in August 2005.
And it's almost Halloween, but it feels more like summer. Rebecca Valdez joins us now for First Weather. Rebecca, will it be a chilling Halloween night tomorrow? Thank you, Rebecca. A long-time controversy in eastern New Mexico is heating up again. A petition is hitting Curry County streets and residents are divided. Restaurants want to be able to serve alcohol on Sundays, but they're facing concerns from churches and opposing residents head on. Now we return to News 3's live crew in Curry County, where Selena Westervelt is standing by live with more. Selena. In other news tonight, a leading U.S. retail store is accused of forcing young children to work in a filthy sweatshop. But the company wants the top to fix the problem. Brian Todd has more on the Gap controversy. And coming up, if you are thinking about a trip to Carlsbad Caverns, you might want to reconsider.
And for Amy Pinnell, I'm Desiree Markham. Have a lovely evening.